the CDU does actually charge really quickly. So I can flick the point really quite rapidly, and there doesn't seem to be any issues with the CDU getting recharged. And it also doesn't appear to be putting too much of a strain on my DCC bus, as it's not causing any issues with spikes in the power on that. Well, hello there. It is amazing to see you, and I really do hope that you are well today. I'm Kirk, welcome you up here to Weir Yard. Today we're talking about point control. Certainly this is an area that those who are just starting out in the hobby might find to be a little bit daunting. When all you want to do is really just get to the fun stuff about layout building, it can be easy to overlook how you're going to change your points. And I know a lot of people, myself included, when they first built their very first layout thought, I'll gloss over this, I'll just push them over by hand, and stored up a lot of issues for the future. Well, there's a new product that's come through from Tramfabriek, and this promises to make wiring up your points really, really easy. Simplicity itself. Add to that it also has a great deal of features that make this the perfect way to make your very first control panel for your layout too. It really is a versatile piece of kit that is designed to be equally at home on DC as well as DCC layouts. Making use of the power feeds from either a DCC feed or a 9 to 16 volt AC smooth power supply, they really are quite versatile and yet really, really small. And I'd like to thank Tramfabriek for very kindly sending over one of the first off the production line, which incidentally is based here in the UK, so that we can have a good close look at this. And I'm going to be showing you the ins and outs of this new product, as well as a little project to get it fitted and working and show you just how quick and easy it is to get that running on any point in your layout, whether it's in your fiddle yard, on your main scenic layout, or maybe if you want to mount them a little bit more remotely on a big control panel and certainly have that feel that you're in a power box somewhere controlling your little mini kingdom. So come with me and let's take a good look at what promises to be simplicity itself at making point control quick, easy, reliable, first time, every time. Today's video comes in association with Tramfabriek, makers of DCT decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabriek.co.uk. Additional support comes from...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model double O gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest logo.
We've got an affiliate link down below that takes you to Rails of Sheffield if you really like the look of the products featured today from Tramfabriek, and that goes to where you can find the single packs and the value triple packs, and you can start your journey today on getting all the points on your layout wired up. But before we get into the substance of today's how-to and review video, do please hit that like button and consider sharing the video too, and if you haven't done so then do subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell to be the first to know about new content as and when it comes up. You can also head on over to Patreon and help support the channel to keep making the videos that you want to see, and a huge thank you to all of our patrons who really have helped to make these videos possible. But let's get on and check out this all new product from Tramfabriek. Designed and built here in the UK, is this the product that you've been looking for to get your point control up and running and to get the maximum enjoyment out of your layout? Let's take a look. I'm I'm going to be talking point control, and this is off the back of this all new product from Tech from Gagemaster that they very kindly sent over to the channel for review. It's a point motor switch for solenoid motors, and this is a great way to localize your point motor switching, and it doesn't matter whether you run DC or DCC, this will run off either power supply quite happily, and it just simplifies the wiring to get your layout all remotely operated from switches rather than pushing the blades across manually with your fingers. Now, I know from my own experience when I first got back into railway modelling, and it's a pitfall that I've seen a lot of people fall into, the idea of wiring up your points can seem just a little bit daunting. So sometimes it's tempting just to say, actually, you know, I'll just push those points across manually and that should be all right. But you don't get great reliability with that. It might be fine at first, but as oxides, layers of dirt, once you've got the ballasting in, all manner of other things happen, and you don't get quite as positive a throw as you might have done when the point was brand new. And that's where having a switch and a CDU really does help a long way to get a nice positive throw on that point first time each time. With the Tech unit, you can buy these either in 3-packs or single packs, and by having the CDU actually attached here on the unit, it makes a huge difference in terms of cutting down the amount of wiring that you have, because your solenoid can be mounted pretty close to this. You could have the toggle switch mounted in the fascia, and these LEDs are removable. You can in fact even run a wire from these all the way back to a control panel if you wish, and it gives you a lot of flexibility to then visually see which way your points are set. Having a CDU on each point channel means that you can change a lot of points fairly quickly without having to wait for your CDU or capacitor discharge unit to recharge first. It'll also work off DC and DCC power supplies, so this is actually a perfect product for those who want to stick with DC to be able to make use of a simple point control without having to pay for features that maybe you'll never use. Looking at the packaging, it comes in Tech's standard packaging with the blister on the front that's got the product on display. And actually what I like as well is you can see some of the specs of the model without having to look it up online. The catalogue number for this product is TTPMS3. The RRP for the single pack is £16.25, but we do have an affiliate link down below to help you find these at a discount. This goes to Rails of Sheffield, and they're available in a single pack for £14.50, or that aforementioned triple pack is £35.70. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get this up and running, and let's just see how well it performs. We've got some simple notes on connecting the unit up. We need either a 9 to 16 volts DC, and this needs to really be a smoothed power supply, and we've got screw terminals as well, which makes a huge difference. I know that soldering can be seen by some people as being a little bit of a black art, and I know a lot of people tend to shy away from the idea of soldering, so this with all screw or push fit terminals really does help a lot. Looking closely at the product, the most obvious thing is we've got this very large capacitor on the bottom. This is a nice beefy capacitor to be able to store up the power to really throw that solenoid with a huge oomph. That's really important to get a good positive throw, and also saves your solenoid motors from potentially being damaged in the process. If you just plug the 16 volts AC in directly, yes, the solenoid motors will throw, but there's a very high risk that you can send too much power for too long through them and they'll warm up and you can burn out the coils. So this onboard CDU just makes sure that there's no issues with that. The design of the switch is intended to make making your own control panel really easy without having to put in a wealth of wires, or alternatively it's really useful to be able to mount this actually close to the turnout, and this is really handy say in a fiddle yard where you're not going to be too bothered about this being visible above the baseboard, and you can literally place the switch next to the point and have the bare minimum of wiring. And even on a DCC system you can leech the power straight off the DCC bus if you wish, or from a separate accessory bus, or on DC you can just run a 16-volt AC feed and just hook up all of your switch units to that. We've got these LEDs that in the packet you've just got some bare LEDs pushed in here. These are intended to get you going. You can utilize these or you can change them for another LED of your choice if you want panel mounted LEDs, for example. Just be aware of the polarity when you connect them up. The layout of the board is really nice and simple. It's quite a small form factor, and this really does help if you're making a control panel with these built in. On the underside we've got the 3 terminals which are for the solenoid point motor. I've got a Pico PL10E here, and that would be the outer 2 go to the coils. So you can view these as the left and the right, the outer 2. And then your common return from the back here, these can be looped together on the solenoid. That goes to the center terminal. When it comes to the power in, we've just got this screw terminal block here, which can either go straight to your DCC bus or your 9 to 16 volt AC smoothed power supply, and that will allow you to power up this unit. To install the unit, and this doesn't matter whether you're putting it into the fascia of a control panel or if you're putting it alongside the point, such as in this installation, it's both exactly the same. You need to drill a suitable hole. You just need a drill bit in your drill that is equal in diameter to the screw threaded portion just here on the unit. And then once you've got that hole drilled, it's really easy to fit the unit through from the other side. You can take out these LEDs if you wish, either extend them with wires or plug in through the fascia, but you can get LEDs with bezels to be able to get a nice neat finish. Just be aware of the way round that the LEDs go into the holes, as they do have a polarity. In this instance I'm just going to bend them round out of the way, and then this is going to allow me to carefully feed the whole unit through. On the top we've got this nice neat lever just poking through, and of course that can be either in your fascia of your layout, perhaps close by the point, or in an instance like this, let's say it's in your fiddle yard, you can just have a switch really conveniently next to it, or you could have these mounted remotely in a control panel. The next step, we can just fit the top washers and the nut on, and this just screws back down into place to secure everything nice and neatly. It doesn't need to be super tight, just enough to secure it in place and stop it from being able to be pushed back through. Looking back to the underside, and do this with the layout power switched off. I'm going to be just freeing up and wiring in the power. Flathead screwdriver opens up the screw terminals, and we can just slide these in. No soldering involved at all. Screw that in nice and secure. And then when it comes to actually wiring the point in, I've got these going back to a Pico point solenoid here. The green I use as the common return. That's going to go into the center, and that doesn't matter either way. That will always be the central terminal. And then the red and the black on this 3-wire set will go to either side. If you find that the point changes in the opposite direction to what you want, then just swap these wires over and the point will throw in the opposite direction when you flick the switch. For me, I'm going to use a DCC power feed, and you can see there that we've got one light on and then the other light on, and you can also see that the solenoid is quite happily moving in either direction. And as it happens, it looks like we might have the point just going in the opposite direction to that which I want. Logically, I'd want to push this switch down to move the blade in that direction. So that's really easy to fix. All we need to do is unplug the power, and then the black and the red, we can quickly swap those over. Once again, plug the power back in, and now the point switches in the direction that the switch is being pushed. You can see on this that if we manually push the point, it's quite tricky. The spring fights us a bit, and even though this isn't ballasted, it doesn't feel quite so positive a throw as if we move it on the switch. The CDU that's inbuilt is powerful enough to switch 2 points at once. You could wire in a crossover really quite readily from a single switch. And as you can see, simple, super easy way of getting your points wired up, regardless of whether you're a DC or a DCC modeler. One of the things that I find with this as well is the CDU does actually charge really quickly. So I can flick the point really quite rapidly, and there doesn't seem to be any issues with the CDU getting recharged. And it also doesn't appear to be putting too much of a strain on my DCC bus, as it's not causing any issues with spikes in the power on that. With regard to those LEDs, you can also mount them alongside. GaugeMaster do give you a handy guide here, which you can cut out and use as a template for drilling the hole for the main switch and 2 side holes of 3mm diameter that you can fit the LEDs in, and they'll fit nice and snug there. If you want to, you can buy different coloured LEDs, which will be a just plug fit into this switch. And you can also get LED bezels to neaten up the look if you want to add them either into a control panel, or for example here, or if it was in a layout fascia, you could add them in just to make sure that it's clear which way the point is set. Well, I hope you really enjoyed today's video and found it informative. Don't forget that we've got that link down below to help you find the products featured in today's videos. And there's a lot of accessories too that you can use if you're wanting to make a control panel yourself. What I would suggest is a nice thin piece of either plywood or MDF is a great starting point. Really easy to drill some holes through. Just, make sure your drill bit is nice and sharp and you've got a nice high-speed drill, and just take your time and you can produce a great result. You can also mount these into the fascia of a layout too, and they're really quite nice and subtle. Quite low profile too, so even if you don't have a huge amount of depth underneath your layout, then they will still fit in there quite neat and tidy. And I really do like the fact that you can mount these quite close to the points, and for me, running on DCC, what it means is I can take a feed just straight off the track into this unit, and then the 3 wires to that motor underneath the point, and it's all nice and self-contained. So it's kind of part of that journey towards the simplification of wiring of our layouts, which I know for a lot of people, myself included, is not the most fun part of the hobby. So any product that makes things nice and neat and simple and reliable really is to be welcomed with open arms. And I'd like to thank TrainTech for giving us the opportunity to take a good close look at this by sending one to the channel for review. But I'd love to hear from you in the comment section down below. What do you think of today's product? Is it something that maybe you'd consider for your layout, or do you already have some winging their way to you? I'd love to know from anybody who's installed these in their own layout. What do you think of them? And do share any of your hints and tips for getting some really great wiring and, importantly, getting your points set up and working first time every time. It certainly adds a great dimension to railway modelling if you can just flick a switch and your points just change and you're not scrabbling around in the ballast trying to make sure that they're pushed all the way across. But do please like, share and subscribe to the channel, and until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take great care of yourself. Happy modelling, bye for now. Today's video comes in association with Tramfabriek, makers of DCT decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabriek.co.uk. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model double O gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest logo.
I'd like to thank everybody over on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to our Patreon heroes. Without you guys over on Patreon, we really wouldn't be able to keep making the video content that you see on this channel. And don't forget that you can also head on over to patreon.com/Jennifer Kirk and check out the different tiers of rewards. Thank you so much. You are absolute legends.